What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another WWE 2K15 Wrestlemania 31 simulation. In this episode, it's all about Randy Orton versus Mr. Money in the Bank, Seth Rollins. Now, this should be a great match. I'm actually looking forward to this match. It's not, it's not a main event match. It's definitely one of the undercard matches, but it should be a pretty damn good wrestling encounter. I'm a very big proponent of Seth Rollins. I enjoy what he does. I think he is absolutely... I can sing his praises all day long because I think Seth truly is, he calls himself the future of the business and all this kind of stuff, but in actuality, in reality, they could absolutely hang their hats on Rollins for years to come. He's that damn good, and he can carry the show if need be. No Money in the Bank briefcase here because there's not really too many options to do that, but you get the idea. Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, one-on-one at WrestleMania 31. Pretty good build. The whole Orton authority situation, in my opinion, it dragged a little bit. It certainly did. I was really surprised that they held off Randy, Randy's, I guess, official face turn for as long as they did, because when he came back for the first time, when he initially returned after being away for so long, what pay-per-view was that? Was that at Fastlane that he came back? And he got the massive ovation. I thought pretty much from that point forward, it was gonna be Randy attacking Seth and trying to persuade him into fighting him at WrestleMania. But for some reason, they kind of went back and they made it seem like Orton wasn't really there to hurt Rollins, and he's, leading on the authority and whatever it is. But I don't know. I felt like he might have been better off just kind of being a face from that point forward, because the ovation Randy got when he first returned was huge. And then you kind of go into, okay, well, maybe, they made it obvious that he was going to be a babyface at some point. But the fact that they kind of held off on it for a little bit, I feel like it kind of... It didn't ruin anything. It didn't really hinder too much. But I feel like the reaction he then got when he, I guess, quote-unquote, officially became a babyface, it wasn't as big as the reaction he first got when he first came back. And that original babyface turn, or at least supposedly babyface turn. So I don't necessarily agree with everything that happened, but this is pro wrestling. You're not gonna understand or agree with every single thing that happens. But either way, this should be a hell of a contest at WrestleMania. I would be shocked if Seth Rollins doesn't win. But that can go a few ways. If Seth is going to cash in at WrestleMania, which, God, I hope he does. A big part of me hopes he does. I doubt it. I kind of doubt it'll happen because, let's say, Reigns wins. A lot of people are so against Reigns winning the title, but I feel like WWE just wants Reigns to be the guy. And if Seth kind of takes away that moment, I don't know, because then that could create some sympathy for Reigns. I don't know. There's so many angles and ways to go about doing things. I know people, and even myself included, sometimes critique WWE's logic or decision making in not the best way possible. But when you really sit back and look at things, there's so many ways you can go about doing things, and so many scenarios and so many different outcomes and possibilities that it's really, really hard, believe it or not, to really sit down and be like, okay, this is the direction we're definitely going in, when there's so many other possibilities that could potentially be good. Sometimes they turn out terrible, but there's always multiple scenarios and multiple situations that could potentially happen, and it's hard, believe it or not, to really pinpoint the one that's going to be the best. So they pick the one that they think is going to be the best, and that's the one they go with. And sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. But think about what Rollins cashing in could do. A, it could overshadow the fact that Reigns wins the title, number one. Or number two, it could create sympathy for Reigns in some way, shape, or form if they book it right. Reigns finally had his moment, finally won the title. Orton going for the pin. 1, 2. Oh, I thought I was about to be 3. And then people might be able to get on Roman's side, even though, oh my God, RKO out of nowhere. Holy Lord, Randy Orton, 1, 2, and 3. And Randy Orton defeats Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. This is also a potential outcome, because if Orton destroys Rollins, like destroys him, Rollins goes out maybe on a stretcher, gets carried out, whatever. If he's able to return and cash in, I think that's going to make the ovation even bigger. Because if Rollins wins and he goes out on a high note and he's feeling good, and then he comes out and cashes in and it all just goes Rollins' way, I don't know, that kind of doesn't make the moment as special. So if Rollins is going to cash in, I believe he might lose to Randy Orton. If Rollins is not going to cash in, I see no reason why Rollins doesn't pick up the victory here and get get a pretty big victory over somebody like Randy Orton. Randy is a future Hall of Famer. Randy is a top guy. A guy that Rollins will, a spot that Rollins will certainly be in some point in the near future. So there's no reason, in my head, in my opinion, for Rollins not to win, unless, again, he's cashing in. Because if he loses and he overcomes that loss, limps out to the ring with the briefcase, holding on to his side, holding on to his neck or whatever, bleeding, I don't even care. Like, the visual could be amazing of Rollins not walking out like a badass with the briefcase. When Dolph cashed in, he had that little swag walk out to the ring. Whenever anybody else cashes in, they're like rushing and, oh my God, I gotta cash it in. But if Rollins just comes limping out with the briefcase, battered and broken with a badass look on his face, that place is gonna go crazy. The place is gonna erupt. So a lot of scenarios here, a lot of different possibilities. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you think is going to happen at WrestleMania 31 between Orton and Rollins. Will Rollins cash in at the end of the night? Will Orton go over? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe now for more, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.